Now, this is a question to a millennial. For you, would you comfortably take someone shouting at you like,
who are you? And you'll hear most people say, you're not my boss. You can't tell me like, you can't boss me around that you're telling me to do.
You're not my boss.
Where's the mkubwa wangu? You've never been in a situation where your boss just comes and they speak to you in a certain way and you're like, if I had a choice, I would not be here. I would not let him speak to me like that. I would just walk away.
Let me say, kuna vile tu unaongeleshwa na mtu and you're like,
yes,
huyu jamaa kona bahati, I need this money, otherwise. So
Yes.
I've had those situations.
Yes. By the way, millennials, please tell us, if your boss comes and shouts at you, will you shout back at them? For the millennials, ama your mom will just tell you, boo, ngoja wacha your father akuje, wacha baba yako akuje,
na pass the baton
pass the baton to the discipline master. Unatolewa mshipi, unachapa vibaya. So for us, that is how we grew up. Like, there's no talking back, there's no challenging authority. But for the Gen Zs, I think there is a lot more autonomy with Gen Zs than there was at the same age we were back then as millennials. Because for us, ilikuwa unaambiwa na unatenda. For them, it's more of, what do you think should happen? There's an employer there who actually said they cannot hire a Gen Z anymore because they've had very, very bad experiences with Gen Zs. They cannot do that. They cannot hire Gen Zs anymore. And they just keep hopping from one company to another. As opposed to millennials, a good number will stick with the same company.
Tacharaza hata miaka 8.
Yes. Hata 10 by then anacharaza very comfortably. So a Gen Z is expecting like within 3 years they are already like at the
wamefika creme.
Washafika saini my exec huko juu. Sasa watu wameka huku millennials
how long alafu ndio kwa exec?
3 years you already an exec and there is a millennial there
kama intern.
When it comes to like technology and just kids of nowadays, I actually think, but I also think millennials, we are starting to have this problem. I think they are spending too much time on their screens. Gen Zs will make very good parents because what is up, everybody? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. You are, of course, hanging out with the realest OG in the building. And of course, I'm hanging out with my main man,
Haron Ubuli.
How have you been, man?
I've been good. I have been okay. It hasn't been a while this time.
So
some consistency is the name of the game.
Consistency is the name of the game, man.
Me,
I keep preaching consistency. You're the one who kidogo. You just
naona tu characteristics to gaslight mtu hapa.
Me, I'm all about consistency, by the way. And we actually made a promise to our viewers, our audience. Every week.
Oh, the realest OGs.
Yes. The realest OGs. We made a promise to you guys that we are going to, be as consistent as possible. Make sure that every week we drop an episode for you guys.
Yes, so it's another one here today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We hope you'll find the topics that we have here as interesting as we find.
Speaking of thank you, by the way, I actually want to thank them for the last episode.
Okay.
It actually, I think you guys are, you likuja vizuri in good numbers to support kwa episode.
Tuli break asili flani,
Hata kama tulikuwa tumepotea kidogo, you guys, just
we were warmly welcomed.
Very much.
It was felt at home, eh?
Yeah, we did.
We did. Very interesting. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the support that we're seeing. Keep it up. We'll keep on pushing interesting content, as we mentioned already.
For sure.
Just maintain Nasisi. What do we have today?
Today, actually, even before we go there. Siswali. Kuna meme fulani nilicheki. Hii meme ilinibamba by the way. and niliona nikakukumbuka nikakufikiria. Actually that nilisave. So how will you handle marriage if blue ticks are making you angry? Utaweza kupika ugali na mwenye anafaa kuikula anakuja kesho? Niliona hivi nikasema marriage life must be hard. Mwenye aliandika hii kitu manzira kama amekapitia yani. Yaani unapika ugali.
Hanga my god, ni legend.
Spend a whole night ukisonga ugali. Labda ni ugali ya ile unga nini? Ile unga kusiaga, ile ya Waluya. Unajua ile unga ya kisiagi ile ya nini? And then apparently inakuanga ngumu pia actually I think hata wasi inatakanga mwiko special si ile mwiko ya
hizi zenye
inataka hardwood ukikoroga hivi
inataka ile mwiko yenye imechongwa si mwiko.
So ati unang'ang'ana hivyo vyote the whole night and then msema manze atana hapa akija kesho asubuhi nakosa kutana
wanaingia kwa hawa anasema ayaya
kumbe mnapika
ameharibu unga. Mnaniekea ugali imepoa. Wait, what about it made you think of me?
I think you're party ugali actually. Because I do ugali so
sasa sikia hiyo.
Na majini mtu ameng'ang'ana the whole night kusongea kwa ugali vizuri hapo. Hata labda unga haikuwa ikabidi ameendea akakuja
ameendea digeshagia.
Manze ameendea amekuja gasi liisha after amechemsha maji ya nini?
Kabidi
achemsha tena. Alafu manze boy hatana hapo.
Okay. That's an interesting
kuna joke nyingine pia nishaisikia. I don't know if ni joke kama ni zile mamchongwano za kitambo. Ati Waluya
guy wait that's the second shot.
Nimongelea story ugali nikakumbuka hiyo. Ati Waluya wanaekeleanga maji ya nini? Maji
ni beef sasa.
Maji
tumekuja hapa kueneza hate speech.
Maji ya kuoga ikisha chemka anasema ama ikue ugali. Sasa kaenda kushawa naona acha tu tusongeke ugali ama tupike kachai.
Sasa imeanza kwa hate crime.
Bali ni sasa acha tuache story basi imeisha. So
no allusions were had in the making of this video.
Yeah, by the way. And all our Lunges fans, by the way, we really appreciate you. Yeah, and you know,
yes, hata kama
we celebrate you as well. So
100%.
Yeah. So shifting gears kidogo kabla bado tuende kwa topic. NBA finals zinaanza leo ni Friday. Zinaanza leo sasa zinaanza leo asubuhi. 3:30
in the morning. Me is almost I'm not very
yeah.
So let me tell you something. You know, me by then niliona tu GSW imetoka. Ikaenda tu.
Ara mi by then nilikuwa nimefurahi by the wewe kina Kari wamedominate sana. Acha sasa hiyo wasengine
wao. What do you mean wamedominate?
Wamedominate.
Say hata kani kuongelea rings ameangukia ngapi? Tuanzie hapo kama unasema.
I think akona 4 so far.
What?
Akona 4 cause najua kuna 3 walichapanga LeBron. Ile time LeBron alikuwa Cavs. And then moja walichapa nani sikumbuki. I think wako 4 if I'm not wrong. By the way, kama kuna manini mafans wa back hapo mnaweza tu correct us. Because I'm still sure by the way.
Okay.
But akona kadhaa najua.
Kile tu nimebambika nayo the Lakers hawako.
Lakers wako down. Lakers by the way, LeBron sijui ni wastana do by the so say
I think for Lakers niyo story tu ya kubeba team. Ukifika niona beba team at some point kina waramba. Ukiangalia akina Celtics and what not, it's a team effort. As in unaona si ati kama like back then, okay, actually this season ilikuwa ati Steph akiwa yuko
team
you just know the team is going to lose. Okay, more or less watashinda.
Yeah.
So wacha tuone. You're going to watch the finals?
Yeah, nitawatch.
Guys,
na hope kwanza itafika game 7 manzi. Hizo zote lazima niziwatch. So mimi niko Celtics, uko Dallas.
I must oppose at your boss. I must oppose. Acha nijiweke Dallas.
Sawa, niko Dallas basi.
See, wewe kwa Celtics my friend. Acha mimi nikae Dallas. But yeah, wacha tuone vile itaenda. I'm hoping it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it will be. Hiyo itakuwa kali by that I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so. So today, the topic for today, I'm sure mmeona hapo pia kwa captions.
Ni topic ya leo.
The topic baby, it's tulikuwa
okay, this is the one we want to go on with after a warm welcome. Okay. Acha tuone.
So topic ya leo, it's and I think hapo kwa caption inasema the problem with Gen Z, but I'm not sure if we it's fair to say it's a problem. We're just talking about Gen Zs anyway, and Gen Zs especially in comparison to earlier generations, and more specifically the millennials, because at the moment it's the millennials, most of the millennials are...
You're a millennial?
Yes, I am.
As am I. Okay.
Yes. So actually by this, speaking of which, watu wanaweza shindwa, unajua like hizo years zinaweza kuwa bit watu wako clear on them. But if you're a millennial, it means you're someone born between 1981 to 1996.
96, yeah.
And then Gen Z's...
Pause, rewind and replay slowly. Okay. Selector. Ati, between? I know this is a conversation that hata pia watu watakuwa bini.
So if you're anyone born between 1981 1996 between 1981 and 1996 then you're a millennial.
So guys, just also fact check us kama tumemwaga unga mahali, just hapo kwa comments just mention something.
And then
so ni
millennials.
So si tuko hapo mahali.
Si tuko mahali hapo.
Okay.
Of course.
80? So, oh, I'm joking.
Zure ni range, so could be 81, could be 96. So
unakaa 96. The fact that we have this topic.
Acha tu niwasaidie not 96. Okay. So hiyo hapana.
No problem.
But niko hapo tu katikati. Na wewe uko wapi? Unafall kwa bracket.
Niko tu hapo katikati.
Sawa.
And then 96.
And then Gen Zs are anyone born between 97 and I think 2012 or 2013 if I'm not wrong. Somewhere there. And then now from 2013 up to now on Gen Alpha, but our main focus right now on Gen Z vis-a-vis millennials, because I think the current war ama friction is between those two generations.
Friction.
Yeah.
The term is friction.
Yeah, it's between.
Do you want to also just mention as in why each topic? Okay, it's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
And from the way I'm looking at it, it can be taken as in inaweza kuwa inaweza go south very quickly.
Yeah, it can. It can.
Now na confidence uko nayo ku address it.
It can.
So what's the inspiration to this topic?
I think the inspiration is nilikuwa na watch, I was watching like, I don't know, there's a podcast called,
he said pointing to a telly right in front of him.
Yes. The Diary of a CEO by a guy called Steven Bartlett something. And he had hosted someone called Simon Sinek. You know Simon Sinek?
I know Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
Inspiration guy.
Yes.
Okay, watch and share my
very inspirational by the he's authored 2 books, Start With Why and Leaders Eat Last. And then there's another one which I can't remember. So they were actually talking about Gen Zs. And I found that discussion very interesting because the host of that podcast was asking Simon Sinek, what really is the problem with Gen Zs? Why do we have this? And then that host Steven is a millennial, and then I understand because he was saying that he feels that Gen Zs are entitled, they are impatient, they feel, as if hii dunia ni yao, like unajua hao ndo kusema, like they are the generation, like hao ndo like the OGs right now, unajua. And then funny thing, I think it's funny because YouTube, once you watch something like that and the discussion was Gen Z's, so I got many more recommendations about Gen Z's. I found an episode where Dr. Phil was talking about Gen Z's. He actually had a Gen Z there.
So everyone has been bashing Gen Z.
Everyone. And those shows. No, we are not bashing them. They were just trying to understand
what is it.
Yes,
with
what
Gen
is it
Z's?
with Gen Z's that everyone is talking about Gen Z's and not just as in everyone by the na hizi ni episodes za juzi, like juzi kabisa.
Okay.
So I got, I became interested to find out what is the problem with Gen Z's.
So guys, so ndio hii summary. Mmesikia amepitia hizo videos zote so that you don't have to.
Yes, and it's not really a problem. We're not saying there is a problem. We're just trying to understand what is the fuss about Gen Z's. And if there's a problem, what is it? And why is there why does it seem like Gen Z's and millennials there's a bit some sort of friction between
I don't know how you see it. From my end, it sort of feels like or sounds like a sibling rivalry.
Exactly. Bas, yes.
That
the big brother, small brother. Exactly. Yes. By the
alafu plus okay, I know we'll delve into the entire discussion about Gen Z's and all that. But it also in some way feels like the fact that now Gen Alpha is in the picture. Now Gen Z wako na ile it's like a syndrome flani yenye now you finally realize you're not the last born. Okay, that's how I'm seeing everything. I don't know, but able to handle this conversation.
By the way, that is very true. By the way, because initially Gen Zs were the the last born.
I remember we were like, where?
But now we have Gen Alpha who are coming up, and then Gen Zs are not like the last one anymore. We have now someone else that we
now they also have to find their footing the same way we had to find ours. So acha tuone vile.
It's I actually wish we had a Gen Z here because we are both millennials. I wish we had a Gen Z.
So whatever that we say inawezekana kama we are bashing Gen Z.
Yes.
Poleni we asked you guys for collabs. Mtasema shida ni sisi. It's not us. Cannot be us.
But maybe in future we can do a follow-up episode where we can have a Gen Z here and just get to hear from them. Like what is happening,
and I can see it also. Again, we've always been talking about some of the things that we need to revisit.
Yes,
and I know the same way we are talking about Gen Z's. Gen Xers probably will say the same about us.
Exactly.
So I think hata kama tunasema we'll invite someone from Gen Z, pia probably now. Tukisema we're getting to the 100 episodes mahali hapo pia we fix aka Gen X
true
and the rest, right?
True. And by the way, Gen Xers are people born between 1965 and 1980. So for anyone who does not know,
okay.
So the Gen Xers are the ones that came before
Gen Y or
Gen Y or the millennials.
Okay,
So for today we'll just look at Gen Z and millennials and but like you're saying, every generation has that thing where they are thinking
these kids, what are you doing? What are these kids
Relax,
life takes you.
Just be humble.
Tumeanza be humble. Okay,
you're just a kid. And like our parents actually used to say that as in kids these days. Right now we are the ones who are saying kids these days in reference to the Gen Z's and the Gen Alphas. So and I'm sure a few years from now the Gen Z's will be saying the same thing about
Gen Alphas.
Gen Alphas, the same thing. Yes. So it's a generational thing. It's a cycle that just keeps on going.
Okay, so let me ask you, what is it about Gen Z's that makes you say on our
I think
still again we're not trying to bash, we're just now this is from our own lenses, right? That you have gone through whatever you've gone through, and now you're seeing someone who probably might be either going through the same steps, making the same mistakes, and you probably don't want someone to do that, right? I'm assuming that's the big brother perspective, that you'll be like, wachana na yo mambo, I'm telling you this, you're right. Okay.
I think there are a few issues, or issues. Okay, not issues, there are a few items. Friend, let me call them items. There are a few things I need to be very careful with my wording here, but there are a few items maybe that come to mind.
Okay.
And one of them, especially in this day and age, is how Gen Zs treat work and how they operate within the workspace. And like I was telling you, that podcast I was listening to,
Simon Sinek podcast.
Yes. So they were saying that one of the issues one of the things that Gen Zs are doing right now is that they will not tolerate at you go to work and then your boss is shouting at you because you did not submit what report at what time, you didn't do what. Your boss asked you to come in a bit earlier for you to handle some report, you didn't come in. Your boss asked you to stay like 30 minutes late for you to finish something. They were saying that Gen Zs they'll be like, I know, by the way, my time, if my contract says I am supposed to be here from 8 to 5, then 5 on the dot, I'm out. I'm leaving. I don't care what is pending, what I have not yet done. There is no, atiku extend. As me, it's
overtime is voluntary.
Overtime is,
and I ain't no volunteer.
And I'm not volunteering for that. So they were saying that hakuna ile kako. Unajua kitambo sisi for the millennials, we used to do that. But for millennials we actually do that. And I'm sure a lot of millennials can attest to this. Like millennials will stay late if there's a report that needs to be submitted. They will say, okay, so let me just give maybe like 30 more minutes, an hour more,
30
or even 2 or even 3 hours more. Let me, so that I can submit this report. For Gen Z, they'll walk out, they'll come in tomorrow at 8 and
wanzie report.
Yeah, wanzie waendelee kwenye walianzilia.
Na utaulizwa na boss and you'll be like, I'm 60% done. You want me to send it your way that ikiwa hivyo?
Yes. And if
otherwise niwache nimalize.
Exactly. And if the boss aramletea shida ama amkeleleshe, then they'll be like, I don't need this. Let me just go home and I'll find another job. And that is a very, very stark contrast between millennials and Gen Zs. It's very, I'd say it's very hard to find a millennial who would do something like that. But I found that interesting. Like, how do you just, and you don't even have like a side hustle. You don't even have a job waiting for you. You're just quitting just because someone has yelled at you.
No, just because. It's not just because. Actually, it's because someone has yelled at you. It's because
someone has yelled at you. It's because someone has asked you to work.
Let me try as well and play devil's advocate.
I was actually hoping to be the one who's will be playing the devil's advocate. No, because me, I don't want issues with them. But anyway.
Wajua inaweza slap both ways because hapo pia mimi naweza toka hapa nishtukie nimedisowniwa na millennials.
Millennials they're very understanding and forgiving. Gen Zs will come at you with
now this is a question to a millennial. For you, would you comfortably take someone shouting at you lightly?
I've been taking it for the past
lightly. No, achana na. Let's take a boss out of the picture. Just someone.
Just a random guy. Like if I'm just walking around this, I'm just a colleague. We are same level.
Random guy.
Random guy.
Mtu akuje tu anze kushautia. Probably they've seen you do something and they're like, wewe. No.
Of course,
you should be.
Yes, I'll.
You take it.
No, I won't take it.
You won't
See,
take
I'll you know, I'll want to understand why are you shouting at me. Like, you know, we'll probably even have a confrontation. Just because no, you can't do that.
So it might even get to an altercation where you'll have to defend yourself and you're like, hey, hautaniambia hivyo. So then why are you taking it from your boss?
As in your boss, like there are consequences there.
No, but
because you see this random guy, Ama, let's even say,
but
let us even say it's a colleague.
Okay.
It's
so
you
now
and
we've put back colleagues.
It's you and I
shouting at each other.
We are at the same level when it comes to our positions at work. Kuja unipigie kelele, hi, my friend, I'll talk back at you. Why? Who are you? And you'll hear most people say, you're not my boss. You can't tell me like, you can't boss me around that you're telling me to do no. Where's the mkubwa wangu? And
okay,
I'm sure you've seen this at work. You know, someone will say, I'm coming to tell you something. Can you please send me that money? But because you're feeling as if I'm telling you to do that as who, I'm not your boss. So you'll tell me that, and then I'll go. Now tell the boss to come and tell you. Now the boss tells you, and then now you'll do it. You'll do it. So I won't care. I'll talk to you however I want. You can't do anything to me. But my boss, imagine like.
What is it about this boss that makes you allow them to talk to you the way they want?
They have the power. They might choose to, you know, maybe they have the power to fire me. Maybe they have the power to take me to HR, you know, for a disciplinary case.
At the point they're shouting at you, the disciplinary should be on who, if you really think about it.
But
let's kidogo to those.
Let's say it's a report I was supposed to submit. I did not submit it. So the boss.
Are there reasons for not submitting? Legitimate reasons?
Yeah, could be.
Because at a time kukuishia is also a legitimate reason, right?
Maybe they even legitimate. You have but someone just comes and snaps at you and they're like, why? I've been asking for this report. Why can't I get what I asked for? Things like that. You know, actually, I think the issue is not even what they are saying to you. It's how they are saying it to you. The tone, you know, the mannerisms, you know, the body language and everything like that. And maybe they are shouting in front of the entire team. So, you know, that really makes you feel bad.
I'm also interested to hear what guys have to say about this. Because this entire dynamic... Okay, I get 100. By the way,
you want to tell me you've never been in a situation where
I have been in multiple.
Your boss just comes and they speak to you in a certain way, and you're like, if I had a choice, I would not be. I would not let him speak to me like that. I would just walk away and just.
Let me say, for my bosses. Very positive people. I've been very fortunate.
But you've worked for several companies.
Contracted, in some situations I've been contracted to do things, and some scenarios have come out. Kuna vile tu unaongeleshwa na mtu and you're like,
yes,
huyu jamaa kona bahati, I need this money otherwise. So I've had those situations. And for me it took I had to be in that state of, okay, it's about them, it's not about me. Let me just do what I need to do to deliver, tumalizane. Ni ile ya kusema maliza uende.
But you see, the reason why you're doing that is because that person is your boss. If ingekuwa ni mimi, I'm sure ungenijibu. Ungeniuliza guys, what
so my question now, what I'm asking is, why aren't you doing that to your boss as well? Because if you really think about it, no.
My boss, and I need this
Where
job.
Where is it said in the contract that your boss is supposed to shout at you?
Even if... Wait, people, guys, please, because this guy, I don't know... Bosses talk to people.
That said,
it happens.
That said,
even you, I'm sure there are people
100%.
who work under you, who have worked under you before, and maybe they were supposed to do something a certain way, and then they didn't do it, and then in the spur of the moment you just snapped, you just said something that maybe you did not mean to say. It happened. So are you telling me that person?
I'm saying I should have been reprimanded. Yeah.
And so
Because
so let me ask, if that person that you're rebuking, let me use that word.
Rebuke.
What?
Shouts back at you.
Unaona, for me,
what would you have done?
That now would level me, because
Really?
100%, because unaona, I think the callback to one of the episodes where we were like, if you see me in the office versus seeing me at work, those are two different people. So just as you mentioned, if it was in the streets, probably ningekwaza unaniambia nini wewe, unajua hata niko na nini hapa na unaniongelesha ni kama, right? But if it was in the office, of course probably I snapped initially. Then even with that initial snap from my end, my radars are already like, something is off, you shouldn't be, right? Then you shout back, and now I'll be like, nope, this is not where we're supposed to be in the office.
Question for
Ask
you
away.
is, how many bosses do you think will take that? Will take that lightly? Someone shouting back at them, an employee, a junior especially. How many?
I really don't know, to be honest.
But let me ask you, okay, acha tuachane na the boss. How many junior employees do you think will actually shout back at their boss? How many do you think have it in them?
I think right now the numbers have gone up. Kwanza na scenario Gen Z.
Gen Zs, yeah?
Plus,
for Gen Zs will actually do it.
Yes.
But for the millennials,
I'd say
how
as
many
well.
millennials do you think will actually do that?
I'd say as well. Millennials pia kuna, you know yourself guys. You know yourselves. Kuna pia, okay, me sidhani ni
Kabu, by the way, millennials, please tell us, if your boss comes and shouts at you,
wait. Okay,
will you shout back at them? For the millennials,
depending on the
for the
scenario.
millennials, me personally, I think most of them, a good number of them, would actually just take it lightly, say, okay, the way you're saying, maybe he's having a bad day, let me just,
it's not about me.
Yeah, it's not about me, and there's no need for me to just cause issues here at work because of something like that. Someone is having a bad day, let me just continue with my work. But what I believe, for the Gen Zs, they will not take it lightly. They'd be like, okay, sawa, you guy, I actually don't even need this, like, I'm off, find someone else to do this job. Yeah, actually, yeah, jumalizia hii report, mimi nimeenda
67% ndio hiyo hapo, fanya kile utafanya,
fanya kenye utafanya. So
okay, the reason I was actually bringing that perspective into the conversation was, even as we're talking about the big brother versus the smaller brother, usually sometimes, okay, when I say usually sometimes, that's slightly contradicting, but usually in scenarios where the big bro is like, we haujui kile unafanya, inakuaga one, you either want them to not get in the same situations you got into, because they were challenging for you to get out of. Two is also some level of jealousy that, kumbe these things can happen. You and now the reference I'd like to make for that is like, when you're in like your family setting, I don't know if you've experienced this, but tuseme mko kwa hao, mom, the youngest kid and the rest of the siblings going up the ladder, right? Then the kid snaps at their mom. Mbona nitumatuma, wachana hiyo mambo. Then all the elder siblings, I'm like, oh, I'm so ready for this whooping that's coming. Yeah. Then all of a sudden the mom is like, hey, I'm sorry, sitakusumbua tena. Then everyone is like, what? If it was me, ningekuwa right? Yeah. As an elder sibling, you're like, manze, this is not how it's supposed
now
to.
Now the elder sibling here is the millennial.
Yes. So now
the millennial is like, no, we don't talk back at our mother. We just if she says go, you go. But you see the younger sibling, the Gen Z,
we are shocked that it is actually possible to not take whatever you're being fed by your boss because you're not.
Yes, and
we're like,
why are we
What world
seeing
is
that?
this?
Well, it's because we are seeing the Gen Zs doing it. They're snapping back at their bosses. They're not allowing their bosses to talk or to shout at them.
Talk them down.
Yeah, to talk them down. Yeah, to dress them down in public. They're not allowing them to do that. So when the millennials see this, they're like, kumbe bethe, this is possible.
This is how we are supposed to do it. So it's
So there, actually, Gen Zs are there. Gen Zs, we're actually giving you props here because we're saying that we have seen it's actually possible.
Sai unakaa unasema manze zile time zote nilishautiwa, kumbe ngambia ujamaa we jua tunaishia kwa pesa na tunaishia kwa kazi hizo zingine.
And it's true by the way, because I think there are instances where a boss can talk to you at, in a certain way,
talk down at you. Let's just
and
say
then
that.
When they do that and then you stand up for yourself and you say no, by they know
this is not supposed to happen.
I think it makes them just think higher. By the way, why was I talking to that person like that? Sometimes it may happen and then they're like, okay, from hapo kuna kuwa nako ka level of respect. They're like, by the way, this is not someone that I will just talk down na aichukulie tu hivyo. They know
that there's some borders that you can't cross and you shouldn't cross either way. It's just that we were unfortunate to be brought up in a society where ulikuwa una sign contract yenye unasema ni kazi, but it comes with a lot more than just the work.
Me I'm sure even someone like my mom, if I take this same scenario to her and I tell her, by the way, my boss is he's always shouting at me nowadays, I don't know what is wrong, nini I'm doing my work, yes, but akona attitude, mood, akona nini. My mom, she'll tell me, just achana na yeye, will you just do your job, fanya kazi.
And that was the advice we were receiving back
by that is the advice the millennials, that is what the advice that we got. And I think our behaviors, how we handle such situations has been advised by that, the parenting that we received from our parents. So in part huwezi to blame, in part because tumeonyeshwa like weenda tu ufanye kazi, nyamaza, masaa yako ikifika toka na uende.
Hapo ndo umesema I have not the blame. I am the blame.
Because like even the differences between these generations, a big part of it is due to the parenting styles. So for us, our parents were very let me say authoritarian. Like it was, if your parent tells you to go to the shop, there's no no what umechoka, go. In fact, if you try and talk back at your parent, you'll just tapigwa slap ingine ujayo. Discipline. In fact, you might not even sleep in that house that day. Ama your mom will just tell you, "Bu ngoja, wacha your father akuje, wacha baba yako akuje."
Na pass the baton
to the discipline master. Unatelewa mshipi, unachapa vibaya. So for us, that is how we grew up. Like, there's no talking back, there's no challenging authority. But for the Gen Zs, I think they, upbringing yao imekuwa a bit softer. Like, they are given that leeway to actually question some of these things. Like you're saying, if a parent tells you, please go and bring, something for me from the shop, that kid will say, but see, you sent me last time and this time again.
I've been sent
and Nani is here playing video games. Like, see, no,
because like me, by the okay, what I like to say is the reason also I was mentioning that, okay, it's interesting that you mentioned that it's very authoritarian how we were raised, and for them it's very liberal, right?
Yeah.
There is a lot more autonomy with Gen Zs than there was at the same age we were back then as millennials. Because for us ilikuwa unaambiwa na unatenda. For them it's more of what do you think should happen. So like in that simple example, as a kid mi ningekuwa za nimetumwa kiberiti nimekimbia nimerudi. Nimetumwa sabuni ya kipande ya 10 nimekimbia nimerudi.
2 minutes later umetumwa
Royco cubes 2 hata nimekimbia nimerudi. But a Gen Z would be like, wait a minute, mbona naenda huko 7 times? Compile your list, as in get your ish together, then tuma me once, because easy vitu, it doesn't make sense for me to just keep on going. I have other things to do. And you're like, what?
But for you, growing up, would jaribu something like that.
True, very true. But I would also like to think that it got to a point where there was some sort of an awakening where now you had that autonomy in your thoughts that sasa even as a millennial, say it's not just ati unaambiwa na unatenda, which is also partially why we're saying that we are looking at them and we're like, should have started doing these things earlier, because I've won this much time we've wasted, all the trauma that's been built up na hiyo mambo yote that we've been experiencing, because it gets to a point where now it's you have that self-awareness that, hey, some of these things shouldn't be happening either way, so why am I letting them happen?
True.
But it's just that for you it's happened later than it has happened for the Gen Zs, right?
It makes sense, by the way. So I think one of the other things that Gen Zs have been accused of, especially by employers, is that Gen Zs are they are lazy. Not my words. Is that Gen Zs are lazy.
Defense of America. I
need to be very clear, by the way. It's you know, it's I'm not the one making all these allegations. So apparently, employers tend to that Dr. Phil episode I'm telling you. There was an employer there who actually said they cannot hire a Gen Z anymore, because they say that they've had very, very bad experiences with Gen Zs. Gen Z will not, go over and above
for the organization.
Yes. You see, they will, their boundaries are just within that KJD. You see that KJD that you give them, the JD that says, okay, your responsibilities are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ni full stop, we are done. If you try to sneak in a 6, 7 there, no, by the way, is that in my contract? No, it's not. But you work for us. Could you please, and you're asking nicely, by the way, could you please come in tomorrow? I know it's a Saturday, but could you please come in tomorrow? There's this urgent thing that this client wants. They're like, no, that is my free time, I can't come. And they're just telling it to you like you're like, why? So for them, they have, sisi usemati work-life balance. For them, it's strictly there's work-life balance. There's kuna clear-cut boundaries. Work. So I come in at 8, do my work, leave at 5. 5:01, even if nimetoka 5:01 and then you forgot something, you call me. No, I can't pick that call. If you send me a text, I can't respond to it. I'll respond to it tomorrow 8 once I sit at my desk. Call afterwards. Yes, it's illegal. But like, as in the nini has been, the tradition has been, yes, we know we're not supposed to call you after work, but we're just asking nicely, could you please, I know you've already gotten home, but you see that curry pot, could you please just send it to me? You're not even doing anything to it. Just ingia tu kwa email, send it to me. I know it's 8 p.m. You're with your family, but please send it to... No, they can't do it.
Me, I'm saying this as envy to Gen Zs.
As in for them, it's like that.
So, I like... The reason I was laughing earlier is because ulikuwa unasema it sounds like Gen Zs won't sign a contract that says among any other duties.
And for us, I think for most millennials, we signed those contracts where the final line there in that JD, that contract was, and any other duties as assigned from time to time. That gives the employer very this leeway of anaweza kuita anytime because
saa 2 usiku.
Unakumbuka number 11? Any other duties from time. This is it now.
unajipata disciplinary Monday kwa sababu kushika.
And by the way, even when you go to HR will tell you, there's this line, you agreed to it. So why are you complaining when your boss calls you in on a Saturday morning? But for Gen Zs, no, you can't just sneak in such lines there, such ambiguous lines there that are not specific. Like what is this? What is this?
Any other
duty? Just name it there. So that employer was saying that no, they cannot do that. They cannot hire Gen Zs anymore because Gen Zs, for us millennials, we used to. Hey, me by the way, I remember there are times that I used to stay at the office up until 9 or 10 p.m. And at that time, I'm in the office 9 or 10 p.m., almost 11. My mom calls and she's like, "Oh, so hi, how are you, my son? You doing well? I'm just checking in. So you're about to sleep? I'm still in the office. There's something I'm finishing up on." So me, nasema hivyo expecting, some
akwambie wacha
some pity, some stress, kahuruma. Akiwoi, my son, sai, 10, you're still in the office. My mom would tell me, okay, if it's work, we just ngangana tu. Kama kazi iko wewe fanya. I'm like, guy. Hata kuna huruma, like ile tu nijue tu like mtu ananihurumia, kahuruma tu. Ananiambia ngangana, juu iko wewe tu fanya, endelea, unaona? So that is the mentality that we grew up with, but a Gen Z will not stand up for that.
Is it healthy though? Me naona ni kama hapa nangangana ku represent Gen Z.
For me, hata mi hapa somehow nita side now in the sense that yes, if it's work, let me just do my work 8 to 5. But getting to that extent where I'm not even picking up calls, you don't know why that someone is calling you. And like we are saying, maybe it's a very simple request like, that report, I don't have it on my computer. Could you please just log into your email, send it to me? You're not doing anything else.
Not that I'm helping you as my boss. You also need work-life balance. Mbona unaingia kazi Saturday?
I know, but
contract yako inasema
I know.
Weekdays 8 to 5. What are these things you're doing at SG calling me?
I know.
Anasi drinks unanitia. Come on.
See, maybe there's something has come up like, kuna moto imewaka mahali, we need to put it out. You as an IT person should know that. Like there's things that just happen.
Come on, I know what.
There are things that just happen on weekends you had not even planned for, so you just have to go into the office. So I think your work-life balance, I support them, but it doesn't have to be that extreme where you can't even respond to a text past working hours. You can't pick a call. Okay, yes, that person should not even be calling you at that time, but maybe it's just something very simple. It's maybe something that they want to confirm. Oh, by the way, what is the code for this and this? What is the number for this and this? What is something very simple?
How much was it that you were supposed to?
How much, something very simple. So I think I support the work-life balance, but not to that extreme where, you cannot, No, even when your boss, someone you've worked for like a few years, and then they ask you a favor, a very simple favor of just come in tomorrow on a Saturday. They've never asked this favor of you before. Just, I can grant it. But of course, the etile kuzoea. So I think, but yeah, I also support you Gen Zs on that. Work-life balance, very important. So yeah, acha to...
one other thing I was also reading about Gen Zs was that there is a lot more. Okay, it's what we've been talking about actually. They are a lot more aware, self-aware than we were back then. So as in, there's a lot more attention to the well-being of an individual, that I need to maintain a healthy as in sunona vile unasema work-life balance. So for them it's like, okay, my mental needs to be right, otherwise which I think attributes to now the things that we are now talking about, that nikikuona ukinizushia, I'm like, that's toxic energy.
I don't need that.
I don't need that energy. Ama nione past 5 and I'm like, hey, I need to balance my life. So you should have called me at 4:59 on Friday. Mbona nipigia Sunday sijui saa 2 usiku. So they are a lot more aware, and that has generally led to a spike in the cases of probably I'm trying to say it and not sound like I'm targeting, but you see when we have these cases, I don't know how to put it. So if you probably
but what you're saying makes sense. Like, we this generation, the millennials, may look at it as them being, I don't want to call it selfish, but them kujipenda sana. But it's not that. It's just that they value their wellness, their well-being, whether it's their mental well-being, physical well-being, emotional, and also their time with their families and their time outside of work. They value it so much that they will not
sacrifice it for any other.
That is the term. They will not sacrifice it for any other thing. So which I think for us millennials, we would rather sacrifice.
Not we'd rather. We have been taught that in such scenarios you need to sacrifice because there's a greater good, or there's a higher reward, only to realize that there's no higher reward, there isn't any greater good, because again, when you're in that space, you realize you're the glue, na ukijitoa to nothing. It's all nothing in summary. So which again now leads to that part where we're like, manzesi akona confidence anaweza fanya hivyo, mimi ingekuwa mimi, I don't know. Right?
By the and I've actually remembered something. There's a term I had with the Gen Zers too, at the bare minimum Mondays, as in Mondays too, it's you're just doing the bare minimum as you recover from the weekend, the effects of the weekend. So Monday you're just there, unajua ndio Tuesday sasa
ni kuloiter, ni
kumanuva tu uonekane, you're just around. So I found that to be very interesting. And then there's this other one, that quiet quitting. So again, that is the bare minimum. You're just giving the bare minimum. You're not going above and beyond. You're just doing enough not to get fired, but si lenye inaweza fanya ati unotisike ama mtu akwambie by the way
uko under.
Yes, you just ile tu yenye uko how pity huku ati utakuwa na issue na HR na mdosi wako, but pia hauji overextend this side nyingine ati you'll get a pat on the back for by the way, good work. No, it's just bare minimum. Come in at 8, leave at 5 exactly. No stepping into the office on weekends, holidays, and just go up. You're just nothing more, nothing less. But another interesting thing is, I was also talking to a HR friend of mine, and she was telling me that the problem that they are having right now with Gen Zs is you'll get someone who has like 3 years worth of experience, but it's in like 8 different companies. So they worked in this company for 3 months, this other one for 6 months, this other one for 4 months, and they just keep hopping from one company to another. As opposed to millennials, a good number will stick with the same company.
Tacharaza hata miaka 8.
Yes. Hata 10 by then anacharaza very comfortably, na hata maybe hana thoughts za kutafuta ama kuenda place nyingine. Ako tu sawa, ako hapo.
Labda hata ni kampuni ndio ilitanki kamfanya abidi kwingine.
Ni COVID ilikuja wakakuwa laid off, ndio ikabidi a change kampuni. But I think that is also the very big difference between Gen Zs and the millennials. Gen Zs will and that employer was saying that Gen Zs are not loyal. They are not loyal to You see, like how our parents were. Our parents used to stay with one company for more than 30 years.
By the way, okay, yeah. Now, if we're talking about how it was,
kuna hao maboomers na Gen Xers. One
it
company.
Was, kama if you're working for Coca-Cola,
yeah,
you're preaching Coca-Cola.
Yes.
It's aungenipata hata ati I'm talking to someone who's working for Pepsi. Aje, how? What do you mean? Ati ndio unataka pesa zetu za biashara ziishe. So ni Coca-Cola, drink, breathe, sneeze, everything is right. So that's how they were. And I think it is through the dilution that now for us we were like, I can just work for Coca-Cola.
Yes.
No one needs to know. But saa huku chini sawa koza who says I can just work. Me kwanza I can even run 3 at the same time, or I can be here niona wamenibo 2 months, hop on to the next one. And it's that dilution that now we are seeing finally. So probably it will be another different monster when it comes to Gen Alpha, right?
So it's interesting that, you know, Gen Z's wako na hiyo nini, but pia what is kitu I think me na contribute to them hopping from one company to another is that whatever we've just talked about, someone talks to you in this way, you're like, I don't need this job, let me just go and look for another job. And I think another thing is that Gen Z's they have very, very high expectations, especially when it comes to work. You're expecting that you've gotten this job today, next month you're already getting a salary raise, 2 months later you're getting promoted to.
But everyone is expecting that.
But for us, I think for us, we grew up knowing, just give it time. For us, I'd say we had a little more patience. You know, like, so I'll wait.
I remember being very impatient.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so Buleras here also from other millennials. The patience that millennials had.
Okay, let me also rectify that statement. I was very impatient, but nile ulikuwa unaenda unaambiwa, okay, if you give it 3 months, something will. And I'm like, okay, wameambia miezi 3, acha ningoje nione. So that's how I was.
I think, okay, but I think for most of the millennials, they do not have very high expectations that once I get into this position, 3 months later I'll be getting a salary raise, 6 months later another raise, and then, you know, by the time we get into the following year, I'm now the, you know, the deputy the CG boss or something. You know, that is that meteoric rise in your career. No. So a Gen Z is expecting like within 3 years they're already like at the
wamefika creme,
washafika you know, saini my exec huko juu. Sasa watu wameka huku millennials
how long alafu ndio kwa exec?
3 years you already an exec, and there's a millennial there
kama intern.
There's a millennial there,
you know, we're actually laughing about it alafu it's something that
no, it happens by the way, like you know, people you know, you have these unrealistic expectations which clearly has it happen hivyo venye unafikiria na your time yenye umejipatia. So you have to give it time. Millennials tunakaa unangoja like a few years before you even get a salary raise. You wait for another few years before you even get a promotion. But sometimes you don't even get it.
Do you think as well that the environment now is shaping itself to accommodate such expectations? Because if you really look at it, we are living in a society where I woke up today, I had 0 followers. Post one video, tomorrow I have 700k subscribers. So effective immediately, I need a media manager, I need whatever, I need a whatever. So do you think, of course, with the interactions with the environment, and when I say environment, I know you understand, it's everything around, right? That it's shaping up to accommodate those expectations. Because in such a scenario, then the possibility of being an intern today and an exec 3 years down the line is very high. The probability is a lot higher than it was back then, because back then we were looking at across the globe there were probably like tuseme kama 300 executives because they were like 300 companies all over the world, right? But right now there's so many companies that you can be fired in one and hired immediately in the next without even needing to present your CV, just proving the fact that you're able to deliver, right?
That is a very interesting one. Like, cause of technology, the influence of technology.
Ooh, and actually that's also a discussion we might need to bring in, because Gen Zs have also been raised with technology.
Yeah. Actually, by that is the generation that has been born into technology. You know, as for us, we were there. Technology found us.
Okay, but sorry, I didn't want to
no, but it's true. Si tulicheza na matope. Like technology ilitupata tukicheza na matope. They were born into it. They found it there. So from a very young age, they've been interacting with technology. But yes, I think what you're saying is, even for a Gen Z, like the ease with which someone can get a new job. For example, if a Gen Z resigns today, or they quit their job because their manager has, reprimanded them, they've applied like, I don't know, like 100 for 100 jobs on LinkedIn or
LinkedIn. ChatGPT has generated several CVs for you.
Exactly. So even in a day, you can apply for like hundreds and hundreds of jobs. While for us millennials, when we were getting into the job market,
ulikuwa unaenda una
physical hard copy.
Yes, physical. So unazibeba kadhaa, and now you start dropping them in company A. Panda mat, drop company B. Panda mat, drop company C.
And there's only so many CVs that you can drop while going physically to each employer. But for them, and you see, once you may enlarge your pool kenye unanini ya applications zako, then chances of you actually getting a call back from one of those employers zinakuwa high compared to mimi mwenyewe.
Yes. Compared to sorry for cutting you short. Compared to someone mwenye umekuwa step by step, and as well with the growth that is also being experienced in organizations and in different operations. Then chances are popping up as fast as they're dying off. That probably as of yesterday, this company did not need probably a digital marketer or a digital content creator, but because there's this one video that went viral, and now we need to catch the pool that's there, we immediately need someone and whatnot, right?
Yes. And also there's another point there that you raised, that someone, a Gen Z went to sleep with just one follower. They posted a video the following day, wanaamka, it's
700k.
Yeah, they have like 700k followers, as in. And I think that sort of like has influenced their perception towards even the job market. Like, yes, I can get into this position today, and 3 years later, I'm the exec, I'm the CEO. Why not? If hapa kwa nini naona rise,
real time
growth, like chap and all the people are following me, and so why not replicate the same nini here at work? But I think nini ni very different. These environments ni very different. So
but they are catching up to the speed of technology. Probably not at the pace that we'd all want
slowly
them to.
Slowly though,
but they are catching up. And now that discussion back that we had tangented to was how technology has influenced Gen Zs in general, because as you rightly mentioned, they were raised with technology at the palm of their hands. That access to information, sisi nakumbuka
ilikuwa ukiulizwa ati what is onomatopoeia unakimbia kwa dictionary unaanza leta A B C D mpaka ufike kwa O. Sasa hiyo before ufikie onomatopoeia umecharazwa na mawazi zingine kama ornaments oni but for them it's just Google search tap
guy dictionaries kwanza.
Imagine hata chana na dictionaries. Remember vitu kama mountains where you had to open the atlas yenye ulikuwa unaambiwa ati what's the country right next immediately on top of China. Tell me how long it would take you kama huko memorize
your had it rough to be honest guy baby kutafuta hizo maneno zote.
Imagine hata okay now hata sahau hiyo. There's this conversation we were having, I think, in a different
taken me way back
in a different episode. Yenye ulikuwa unaambiwa haya kesho uende Times Towers 7th sayo mnaishi base kama Rongai ama sijui mko Thika.
Hata ujai kujata
Tell me how many people today when unaambiwanga hata sahi tu member can you quickly come to sijui wapi. I'm like I'll be there in the next it on my maps it says 15 minutes, give me 20 as in right how easy these things have become as in for now the Gen Zs, which is now culminating to whatever we are seeing that they have access to so much information that now it's just
and it's readily available.
So much information readily available, and now it's just them to bend it to their will. That with this information, and for us we didn't have that advantage, so for us we needed some time to first adjust to to first fathom that you can have all this information and now figure out what you need to do with it, right?
For us, we were just, tulikuwa tuna experience culture shock at the time. Technology to shock, kwanza kabla to adopt.
As in, do you remember, ilikuwa na kwanza you make like 6 calls. Nimeambiwa niende Times Towers. Gari za Times Towers zinachukuliwa wapi? Ati nikishuka niende aje? Alafu, you've made like 6 calls for you to prepare for next week on Friday yenye utaenda hiyo Times Stars and it was just hell. By the way, if you did not experience that life, manze, it's a good time to be alive.
By the way, I think for us tulikuwa tulikapitia by the way. Okay, as in saying ndo nimefikiria hizo vitu hata nimekumbuka kwanza umenipeleka kwa dictionary na ma atlas kasema na hizo ma direction unaambiwa uende sijui wapi and then uko bahati mbaya maybe you don't have a phone ama your phone died.
What do you mean you don't have a phone? What, nani alikuwa na simu back then? Ilikuwa simu ya nyumba umepiga ukachukua hizo directions ukishawacha hapo simu you are on your own na ukumbuke ukimaliza pesa utajua vile utarudi.
By the way,
because there's no way to send
you money. And then I think another thing is that experience of you're leaving home having memorized all the directions in your head, the buildings, everything, and if you forget something, then you have to ask someone. You have to ask a security guard. Okay, I'm looking for this building. Which route should I take? And I think for us, ilitusaidia kuwa na hiyo human interaction, just talking to people, engaging with people. For this generation, I don't need to ask you. What do I need to ask you?
Kwanza you're a stranger.
By the way,
nataka kunimeza nitaenda unichezee nope. My phone will tell me where I need to go. Google Maps is never wrong. Ama if it's mambo ya maps, I'll just do a quick search and I'll say, okay, top of China, it's this country. Onomatopoeia, it's a word that ndio unaniringia hapa ati majina kubwa ati expialidocious supercalifragilistic
na memory yako iko fit hizi actually hata umetaja sijui onomatopoeia ndo nikaikumbuka ilikuwa nini hiyo wewe
I know, don't ask me. Google search to find these days I don't even struggle maintaining at memory hizi mambo.
By the way, and that is it. And I had someone say that the brain is not for storing data, it's for thinking and creating new things. So don't stress yourself storing for what? You have everything that you need. You can retrieve it and
ukona 256 GB kwa simu inaweza kastoyo mambo yote.
But I have a question. Do you think that technology imefanya, it has made the Gen Zs ama the generation that was born into technology wakue, like for them everything is instant. If you want something, if you want to order something, just ingia kwa app, place your order, 30 minutes imekuja. If you want to check up something, like you're saying, if it's the definition of a word, naingia tu hapa kwa simu haraka nini. If you want to communicate with someone, you just send them a text ama you call them. For us, you remember we had to na koma juu by the. For us, you remember, especially when tukiwa shule,
I was shocked ati unaweza pigia mtu na hayuko Kenya. Wait a minute. How is this happening?
How is it? What sorcery is this? So for them, for us, even communication back then, you remember at some point we used to actually write letters. You write an actual letter to this Chile that you've been.
Were they letters? Ile yenye kuandika in short code because it was too expensive to write a complete letter. Okay, there's a point where we got to letters.
Yeah. But
before that, there were this, I don't know what they're calling them. Someone fact check me, but I'm thinking it's a Gen X who will correct my statement. Kulikuwa na this, I think they're also letters, but they were too expensive that you didn't have the luxury to kuanza ati mambo ya dear Givinji, I hope you're doing well.
Isn't it?
I write to you.
Ni faxes ama ni postcards ama ni?
I don't know. It could be fax or postcards where you just had to send an instant message and it had to be words that would make sense to whoever you're sending them to.
Ama ilikuwa nini? There was something like Telegram kitambo ama?
Telegram. Those were Telegram.
Something
Telegram.
Like
I think it's Telegram.
Telegraph.
Whatever.
And the one we are talking about is not the one that you guys are thinking of. Not the Telegram app.
See WhatsApp counterpart. Oh my God. Where?
It's not the one. But we are.
I'm seeing Gen Xers.
I'm actually even starting to wonder, like, why? Sounds like even before the internet and computers and laptops. What? But anyway, but do you think that
it has made them to answer that question? In summary, yes. But if you look at the trajectory, as in hata tukianza saa huko the gone generation and the rest of the generations, I don't want to say that it has always been about, but the previous generation has made it easier for the next generation.
Yeah.
I always use the term we are standing on giants because for us to even have the Telegram app, the telegraph had to be envisioned and invented and worked on and improved in such a way that today I have an app that can send 1 million messages with excuse me, with as little as an MB of data and connectivity to the internet. So it has, and I think it will keep on doing that. That is one thing I am very certain about, that we now Gen Alpha will have even an easier time than Gen Zs, and now Gen Zs will be sitting back and there'll be an episode by Gen Zs who will be saying, let us talk about Gen Alpha. Now that they're no longer the last bones anymore. Yeah, so yes, it has made it very easy. But in that same respect, we are saying it's made it easy for them. Life was made easy for us by Gen Xers because we could use a matatu to get to town. I know Gen Xers who probably
for the first 30 years of their life had never boarded a vehicle.
True.
And so it has always evolved that way, or it has always advanced that way. I think that's a correct term.
It's true by the way. But I think when it comes to like technology, and just kids of nowadays, I actually think, but I also think millennials, we are starting to have this problem. I think they are spending too much time on their screens, in the sense that when we were growing up, for us when we were growing up,
kulikuwa na saya.
We actually used to go out and play. We used to do kina prigicho, izo games nini, but for them nowadays it's very hard to see kids outside playing. Ama kids just meeting in Tao for I don't know what. Kids nowadays, it's for them, social let me just media. Sit in my house. Yes. If I need to interact with someone, I'll just text them. I'll video call. I'll get log into Instagram. I'll see what they've been up to. We'll connect that way. So they're connecting, but
virtual.
Not there. And that's why I was saying, they may find it challenging to develop those interpersonal skills, because they're not interacting like face to face with each other. And even communication skills, they may find themselves like struggling kidogo, because for us we had that. You
had to walk to that stranger to get the directions.
You had to go there. You
had to visit an office.
Yeah. Do you think it's somehow affecting them in a way, like too much screen time? Like you've been born into this technology, and you're still continuing. Any interaction that you have with humans is mostly through that technology. Probably you don't even know, as a kid, you don't even know your neighbor, you don't even know. For us, you remember, you used to know like the whole village, like
whole
everyone,
neighborhood.
Even like
esto ingine
next.
Oh yeah,
na hiyo ingine
sahi hata just knowing the next door neighbor is a challenge.
You don't even know them, like
mpaka mambo ya nyumba 10 has to be brought up for us to at least keep in touch. I think it is, and it is affecting them. But the question I'd like to ask is it a tool or an instrument we would want to maintain? Because you see, if we're really talking about advancing exponentially, then some things have to be you have to cut some weight. Some things have to be lost. So it's an unfortunate truth, probably. I could be wrong as well, but either that's like the direction we're headed, that it will get to a point where I do not need to physically interact with you to know that you're there. We could be in a virtual environment, virtual space, where we have designed our own environment, our own setup, and we are still interacting.
It's funny because there's something I was reading, that all this virtual interaction and kids not getting enough physical interaction with each other, and then of course them getting a lot of their validation from social media through likes. That is, you get likes and then you're like, oh, okay, so I'm doing well, my friends like me,
means I'm good.
Yes. That it in the long run it leads to some issues, some self-esteem issues. And again, like you were saying, kids are not able to communicate very well, very effectively. They have, like we're saying, interpersonal, there's that lack of interpersonal connection. And then they're even saying that some kids may not have, the confidence to, like you're saying, interact with people like physically.
Naweza kuwa na confidence 100%.
They have confidence hapa,
but ikifika kwa
mambo, mambo nini, interacting with people, then it becomes a challenge. And then another thing is I don't know, but I think they mentioned something to do with mental health. It's just that I can't remember how they were framing it. But you see, hii mambo ya ku rely so much na
validation from the internet.
Yes.
Affects your psyche.
It does. By the way, it does affect your psyche at the end of it all. But the positive that they were saying is, I think it was a doctor that was saying, kids, Gen Zs, they are very much aware of mental health.
True. And I think I came across something.
And they are not ashamed. You see, for us, our generation, millennials, it was very difficult to hear about. Let us go scare story about mental health.
Go for
therapy, go see
go for therapy,
things like that. But for them, they are talking about it very freely.
Thinking about this guy is crazy.
Yes. There was a lot of stigma by there around that. But for them, they are talking about it freely. They are also even like, you're able like to tell people, whether it's your parents or close friends, that hey, I'm not well. I
don't think I'm doing well because I'm having invasive or intrusive thoughts and all that.
Yes, and for them it helps because you actually seek help.
I think it helps all of us, right?
Yes, even for us, because nowadays even for us, we are not shying away from that conversation. We are trying to embrace it. We are trying to say, hey, by the way, some of us have actually been going through some of these things. Who do we talk to? We are being very open about it, which is a good thing, by the way. And I think, and actually there's an article that I came across that was saying that I think Gen Zs will be very, very good parents. They will make very good parents. Actually, I'll forward you that.
And now again,
they will make very, very good parents because
it's just that they don't want to be parents.
Yeah, but the funny thing, they do not want to be parents. But
because their mentality, I'm still children. Please leave me alone.
I'm still growing. I'm still being raised. But they were saying that Gen Zs will make very good parents because you see, like that issue of mental health. They're very accommodating. They do not stigmatize some of these things. So when someone comes to them with an issue like that, they will just hear them out. They will give them options. Oh, go talk to this person, go see this psychiatrist, go see this therapist. And I don't know,
they will have more open conversations than we did.
Yeah. By the way, this topic of Gen Z is very long.
And it's not just a single generation.
Yes.
Pia tunafaa tuongelee
the Gen Xers, the boomers.
Kwa hii shida yote.
Yes. It's very broad. And us saying that we can be able to exhaust it in a single sitting, we'll be lying to ourselves. So
I'm shocked leo ni wendo una summarize story. But please proceed.
But I'm sure in future, and by the way, we actually asking our audience out there, if there may be aspects of this conversation that you were hoping to hear us address and we have not, please just let us know in the comments below. If you are a Gen Z, if you're a millennial, if you're a Gen Xer, if you're a boomer, if you're an employer and you would like to talk about the different experiences you've had with the different generations, just reach out and we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you'd like also to be hosted on this platform, this couch is big enough,
it's big enough.
Ni
vile tumefinya camera tukiexpand hapa tunaweza weka, it can be the how many generations are there? Are there 7 or 9?
We can have all the generations here by the way. So actually, funny enough, there's someone I saw on TikTok commented on one of our videos and they said, hey, as you guys are thinking about inviting guests and things like that, maybe in future you will probably even think about doing a live experience. I was like, okay, that's nice. Maybe
goals.
Goals. Goals. But thank you. If you feel like you have something that you would like us to address, please let us know. If you feel again like you would like to have a sit here on this podcast and share your thoughts with our audience, you're very much welcome. Reach out to us via our contacts. Ziko mahali hapo, make sure nimeziweka hapo.
Zinakuanga tu.
Zinakuanga.
Just send a chat on the YouTube comments, yes. And we will of course reach out to you.
Yeah.
And again, we're very open. As you've seen, we have very interesting topics,
yes.
But we are open to discuss on any other topics that probably you feel we can engage in and delve into. Yes. We take some time to do research on all the topics that we come across. Although it's partially inspiration for the topics, we also just go and kuna hapa jamaa anakulanga vitabu anasiaga na chemsha vitabu na anakunywa maji. For me it's videos, but yes again, thank you guys so much for joining us.
And I have again to say, we are sorry that we did not have a Gen Z here on set. I think it's unfair for us to be discussing a certain generation na tuna representative wa Gen Z hapa aseme their side of the story. But but maybe in future we'll do that. So
so guys, same old. If you like our videos, remember to like, share and comment. Let our videos reach as many people as possible, as you have witnessed yourselves. Hii ni ya generation zote, hata the gone generation. Hii pia wanaweza tumia na waseme aya kumbe this is what's happening. So until next time, this has been it for us. Kama kawaida, deuces.